Did you know, we now offer channel memberships? You can also leave a tip. Your support is vital to the growth of this channel. Please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you and enjoy the video.
Lost media is all the rage these days. But before a piece of media becomes lost, it must first be forgotten. The goal of this series is to prevent this by documenting obscure and unknown pieces of media before they are lost forever. This is Forgotten Media.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and to the first episode of Forgotten Media. This is a new series where I am going to be documenting media, whether that be books, movies, music, TV shows, video games, basically all forms of media that you probably have forgotten about. Currently, my Lost Media series of lesser-known lost media is the most popular content on my channel, and that got me thinking, what about all the stuff that for right now, you can still find it, you're probably just not thinking about it? And the more people that forget about it, the more obscure it becomes until it eventually could potentially become lost. And so in an effort to not let that happen, my plan is to mention obscure media here in this series. Basically just going to be doing like a brief overview of it, some talking points, nothing too in-depth, but just, maybe we can have a good laugh at some stuff from the past. And recently, the thing that gave me the idea for this series was actually a movie that suddenly popped back into my head that I saw all the way back in the 90s called Mom and Dad Save the World. And this stands out to me from my childhood because it was a video that my elementary school had a VHS copy of it, and they would play it all the damn time whenever we had like a movie day or a day where they just wanted us to watch a movie. And I'm pretty sure that I first saw this film when I was in like first or second grade. Now it is only rated PG, but 90s PG is not today's PG. While not terrible by today's standards, honestly this is not a film you should have shown children that young. And a few specific scenes of that I will be mentioning in this video. But I looked up where this movie could be found, and fortunately it was available on Max, so I did give it a rewatch, and we're gonna talk about it today. But before we do that, of course, the main reason I have this channel, please give me a moment to talk to you about my business. Of course, my main business is Chimera Miniatures, where I make custom miniatures, both custom kit-bashed minis, where I take bits and pieces of various minifigs and cobble them together into something completely unique you won't find anywhere else, as well as my line of not safe for work HeroClix miniatures, where I take HeroClix, which is a game featuring miniatures of very popular comic book characters, and I paint some of their clothes off. So you, instead of their normal super suit, you get them in their super birthday suit, so to speak. I sell all of my minis on eBay, Etsy, and Mercari. There are links in the description. And I also have a Patreon, I have channel memberships, and there is the option to leave a super thanks tip on any of my videos. So if you like the content here and want to see it continue, please consider making some kind of monetary contribution. Ultimately, my biggest recommendation is that you buy yourself a mini as you get something out of it beyond just these videos. And with all that being said, let's talk about Mom and Dad Save the World. So I guess the best place to start is to just start with the very brief synopsis given on Wikipedia. Mom and Dad Save the World is a 1992 American science fiction comedy film directed by Greg Beeman. John Lovitz plays Emperor Todd Spango, who is the cruel, inept, idiotic, and overdramatic emperor of the planet named Spango. Terry Garr plays Marge Nelson, and Jeffrey Jones plays Dick Nelson, her husband. The film also stars Eric Idle and Thalmus Razulala. Razulala died shortly after completing his scenes, and the film is dedicated to his memory. And I will say that this film is everything you'd expect a low-budget comedy from the 80s or early 90s to be. Don't get me wrong, I am in no way, shape, or form saying that this film is a masterpiece. Far from it, but it is a part of my childhood that I do remember fondly, even if it's kind of ridiculous in retrospect. So the film starts with a brief synopsis by a narration from Eric Idle, who is the former king of Planet Spango, about how it has been taken over by the evil Emperor Todd Spango, and that he's horrible and, terrifying and powerful.
Well, all right, so he's not exactly fearsome, but he certainly caught us by surprise.
General of Fear, how much longer?
The death ray is ready, Great One.
Excellent.
Did I mention we were a planet of idiots?
And we're shown that Todd's big plan is that he has created a super death laser that he intends to blow up Earth in order for Spango to become the greatest planet in the universe. They don't really explain why that would make Spango the greatest planet in the universe. Already they seem to have like certain technology far beyond what we have on Earth, so I don't know. It's a dumb movie, just go with it. And his general tells him that they have figured out the correct spot to shoot the Earth in order to make it blow up. And he wants to see exactly where that spot is. So they zoom in on it, and it's this suburb in California, specifically the backyard pool of a family, that he, zooms in and sees this ravishing creature.
Athea, I must have this woman.
Now, being as I would have been 4 years old when this movie came out, I cannot say whether or not that was actually considered to be smoking hot in the early 90s, or if they're just making a joke that this kind of dopey-looking housewife would set John Lovitz's heart aflame. But either way, this evil dictator decides that he must have this woman and says, we'll blow up the Earth tomorrow, let's get her here. And it's at this point that we are introduced to our film's protagonists, Marge and Dick Nelson. Now, Marge is basically a kind of ditzy, overly optimistic, well-meaning, stereotypical 90s housewife character, while Dick is literally every 90s dad stereotype in one person. He doesn't like new things, he has a bad back, he just kind of wants to sit and do nothing, he is not at all adventurous like his wife is. Now, when the film begins, it is apparently their 20th wedding anniversary weekend, and they are taking a road trip to Santa Barbara. Marge is really looking forward to this trip, while Dick is not so much, as he would prefer to just sit and relax and not do anything. Now, it is while they are driving on a scenic highway that Marge recommends they take over Dick's protestations that the Spango uses a magna beam to basically just magnet them right off the road into space, defying all different everything we know about the physics of space and space travel. Apparently, they are perfectly safe inside their station wagon while rocketing through the vacuum of space and our solar system. Then, of course, they land on Spango. There is the cliche miscommunication where they simply think they're just wedding guests for the Emperor's wedding, not understanding that the Emperor intends to marry Marge herself. And she is whisked away to her quarters to be prepared to be the bride of Emperor Todd Spango, while her husband is taken off to the dungeons. We see the world of Spango being all human-esque people on this planet seem to be complete and utter idiots, while there does also seem to be separate populations of both fish-headed and bulldog-headed aliens who seem less stupid, but also they can apparently interbreed with each other. It is shown in this scene where Marge is talking with her attendants, and we see that one of these fish-headed women actually has married. So it basically, we get the idea that the females of the species native to this planet, or possibly not native, it's never really explained, the females have fish heads, the males have bulldog heads. Again, there's no explanation as to why or how, it's a movie. So, while in the dungeon, first off, Dick meets, first this rat creature that mocks him, and this line occurs that my mother really hated me parroting as a small child.
Jeez, that's a big mother.
Jeez, that's a big mother.
And also while in the dungeon, Dick meets, the former king of the planet, played by Eric Idle, who offers this gem of a line.
Open my pants.
And basically, he is told by Eric Idle's king character that he has information that could bring about the fall of Todd Spango, and that he must escape bring the information to his son, who is the prince in exile, leading the rebellion against Spango's forces, and that he has to escape the dungeon. Marge becomes aware of her predicament and is understandably appalled. And through a series of 90s comedy segments, including being helped by Wallace Shawn's character, Cyborg, who, is a typical Wallace Shawn character, Dick is able to escape the palace and make his way to the resistance, though it does look like he is killed, much to the dismay of his wife and the glee of Emperor Spango. In fact, he has jettisoned from his craft at the last minute and continues on his way to find the rebels. Now, when I talk about this film being one giant 90s stereotype, I truly mean it. I mean, one of the biggest cliches in the 90s is that the peak of comedy was when a short, vain, effeminate, bald man was on screen, and that is essentially the entire characterization of Jon Lovitz's Emperor Todd Spango. He has this entire collection of fake wigs and facial hair that he tries to look cool with his various combinations. He has a very flamboyant wardrobe. He is, of course, effeminate in a way only Jon Lovitz can really pull off while still appearing to be straight. And when we talk about his ego, there's this scene that I remember thinking it was absolutely hilarious as a child and not understanding why my mom was horrified by it and hated me quoting it. So we see this scene where he is trying on different looks for his wedding.
Be honest.
Mutton chops, my lord?
No, I like the goatee better. Shoot yourself in the head. Now. Well, how about you?
Mutton chops!
Planet of idiots. You know, they got a point.
So yeah, basically, we saw a scene as elementary school children where these two guys are asked for their opinion, they give it, and then are promptly told to unalive themselves at the behest of their emperor, who on a second look decides, they might have been right. I mean, it's ridiculous, it's goofy, but I guess it is kind of problematic when you really think about it. Meanwhile, Dick does in fact make contact with the Resistance. Led by the children of the deposed king, the rightful prince and princess of planet Spango, Prince Cirque, played by Dwyer Brown, who you might know from Field of Dreams, and former supermodel Kathy Ireland as Princess Samaj.
Open my pants.
He does know father.
Desperate to get back to the palace and rescue his wife, Dick attempts to kind of rally the troops to get them behind him when the prince basically lays out how dire their situation is.
Spango has many weapons. We are armed only with our intelligence.
That's too bad.
Yes, we are not a smart people.
And since the cliche train has no brakes, Dick then gives a almost nonsensical motivational speech that truly does rally all of the rebels to arms, and then they decide they will come up with a plan with Dick as their commander. And as they prepare for the battle ahead, they have a celebration where Dick is forced to confront all the things he was not looking forward to on his vacation, having to take part in weird local customs, having to eat unfamiliar food, but, he sucks it up because it's for Margie. Now, back at the palace, we find out that Jon Lovitz's General Afir, is not only have we determined by this point that he is possibly the only not idiot on this planet before Dick and Marge got there, but he also has grown tired of all the idiotic things that his Emperor Todd Spango has been doing and is seeking to overthrow him. Unfortunately, as he's telling Marge that her husband is probably still alive and with the rebels and that he plans to aid them in defeating Emperor Spango, well, as he's doing this, again, classic cliche, he's explaining all of this, and then Emperor Spango is standing right behind him. General Afir is quickly arrested and will be strapped into the death laser, and Spango orders his troops to go and deal with the rebels once and for all. And again, you must understand that it is stated several times that this is an entire planet of idiots. That's not just something that can be discerned. They make a point of telling you this because certain things that are now going to occur would make no sense otherwise. While going over their battle strategy, the rebels show Dick a weapon they call Most Nefarious, which is called a light grenade. Now, the light grenade works by you pull the pin, put it on the ground, and whoever picks it up disappears in a flash of light. Well, why would anyone pick it up? Again, he shows him that written on this grenade is the phrase, "Pick me up," which apparently almost everyone on this planet is dumb enough to do. And when Spango's men arrive at the rebel encampment and think they found everyone sleeping, when in fact there's been a trap set, and in what they think to be the, Dick's body, I believe, well, there's that light grenade, and one by one, all of these soldiers pick up this thing, killing themselves instantly. And now the rebels are free to enact their plan, which involves basically a Trojan Todd Spango, which they will lie in wait, they bring to his front door and lie in wait inside of. So they get inside, they launch their attack. Basically, Todd Spango's wedding is ruined, the palace is seized, the princess is reunited with her true love, Cybor, and basically it comes down to a sword fight between Spango and Dick, and they ultimately Spango is defeated and the laser is deactivated, also saving Earth in the process. The king is restored to power, and by reversing the polarity of the Magna Beam, they are able to send Dick and Marge back to Earth. And once back on Earth, they are showing their family slides of their trip, claiming that they did go to Santa Barbara. And at the end of their anniversary, they share drinks on the roof, watching the stars. And that's the film. It's basically one cliche after another, mediocre effects and costuming, a somewhat nonsensical plot, over-the-top acting where actors kind of chew the scenery and play it up for laughs, and by today's standards, kind of lame. But what did they think of it at the time? Well, they didn't really think much more of it than we did. The film received negative critical reviews, and it was a box office bomb. It opened in 904 theaters and grossed only $984,627 its opening weekend. And the following weekend, it dropped nearly 70% and was withdrawn from distribution after a gross of only $2 million. Now, on Rotten Tomatoes, the film currently holds a rating of 12% from 25 reviews with the consensus, "There is no saving this off-putting family adventure from its mirthless script, although some inspired production design gives it some visual polish." And I will agree, some of the effects might have been mediocre, but honestly, for a film like this, it definitely looked like it had a better special effects budget than a lot of movies at the time did. I will also say that despite the bad script, it had a pretty decent cast. Certainly not A-listers, but I mean, you have Terry Garr, Jeffrey Jones, John Lovitz, Wallace Shawn, Eric Idle, Kathy Ireland. I mean, these are people that were recognizable, and yeah, but basically, even with talented actors, there's only so much you can do. And again, like I said, not A-listers. Most of these people have faded into obscurity over the years, with Wallace Shawn and Eric Idle being the only ones I've seen in anything recently, and in fact, Jeffrey Jones had a rather major fall from grace when in 2003 he pleaded no contest to a charge of soliciting a minor to pose for nude photographs, and he had subsequent arrests for failing to update his sex offender status. But all in all, it was one of many films in the 90s that came and went, and you either saw it or you didn't, and I would imagine that quite a few of you have never heard of or seen this movie. And yet having to sit in a room and be quiet, which was hell for a kid with ADHD, and watch this movie so many times, it is forever imprinted on my mind. And, I'm sure there are several other people who remember this movie fondly or otherwise, and I think it's important with these types of media that we do document them, that we remember them, good and the bad, because if we don't, then someday someone might go, oh yeah, I heard about this movie, whatever happened to it, and by then it's lost. This one, when I actually went to go looking for it, again, it's on Max right now. It was really easy to find. So this one is not necessarily maybe the best example of films that we need to preserve and document and talk about and remember because it's still easily accessible. But not every terrible film or even good but lesser known film is so lucky. In fact, when I do plan to at least make one more of these, depending on the reception, but I will be making a minimum of one more of these. And the one I'm going to do for the next video, I had a hell of a time finding a copy. I couldn't find it streaming anywhere, and I paid way too much for the DVD because it was from one of those companies that makes like limited print runs of obscure movies and charges way too much for them. But, so I do hope that you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane for me. Maybe you were hearing about it for the first time. And I hope that you'll come back for future episodes of this series. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If there is an obscure piece of media that you would like to see in a future episode of this series, please mention it in the comments. Again, I already have my second video planned, but there is all kinds of media out there, and I would love to talk about your favorites on this channel. So until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. Sean, this is Chimera Miniatures, and I hope you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye!